Alright, I'm going to restain our door because it is looking pretty rough. I've done it once before, but the stain faces west, and so that's part of the problem. I've restained it once. I just stained over the old stain and put a polyurethane spray over it. What I'm going to do this time is sand it. Well, I'm going to start taping around the edges of the glass. Sand it, stain it, polyurethane, sand again, polyurethane again, and then maybe the sanding and polyurethane another time. We'll see, but check this out. So yeah, that's the project. What we're going to work with is, here's the stain. This is the one that came with the house. It's a Sherwin-Williams Ruffino coffee stain. I'm also going to use this as the protection. Protects against sun and rain and stuff. And this is the big thing here, is sun. It doesn't get wet, but it gets tons of sun in the summertime especially. And so this will be the polyurethane thing we put on. I think it's polyurethane. Is that what this is? Oh, urethane. Okay, maybe no poly. Alright, so here you're just seeing me taping up the windows on the door. So just to keep the stain as much as possible on the wood. Alright, now I'm going to use 220 grit raw sandpaper and kind of sand everything down. Yeah. So I think this was the first time I've ever used actually a sander. So I started sanding a bit and then realized I needed to tape around the handle area, so I added some more tape. And then got back to the sanding. You can kind of see it kind of coming off a little bit. It's a little bit scary, but I'm using 220 grit, I believe, and it seemed to be working pretty good. Sometimes I have to open the door to, kind of get the parts that you can't quite reach. I used a damp microfiber cloth to kind of wipe off occasionally between sanding sessions. Now I started with the staining. Now this is the first of, I think, 3 coats of stain that I actually did, followed by maybe 3 or so coats of the urethane. So this entire process took it took about 2 days. I think I spent 2 days doing this because between urethane coats and even between staining coats, you want to wait a long time. I think the urethane even said like 4 to 6 hours. I can't remember. Quite a long time. So it was a process, but it seemed to be good. I also was trying to be very careful not to get stain everywhere, on the ground, everywhere. All right, first coat and a half or so is done. If you look at it, it's much improved already. Coat and a half because I kind of went back and did some of the more parts again. I'm going to just keep layering it. But it's looking a lot better. It's still drying. Now, it says on the can of the urethane that you're supposed to wait 4 hours in between before sanding it. So I'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 4 hours between every coat of that. We'll see. And we'll see if it really needs to be sanded. It might or might not be. We'll see. Alright, so it's getting late on day 1, but I'm still staining more and more coats. I think I did a grand total of about 3 coats of stain and 3 of urethane. So this is now day 2. There's about 3 or so coats of stain and 1 coat of urethane that dried overnight. And now I'm going back and sanding the urethane and wiping down with a wet microfiber cloth. It's looking better already. I'm also going out a little bit of it with some 2000 grit sandpaper and wiping it down with microfiber cloth. Alright, so I'm putting on another coat of urethane. I noticed some kind of white spots, some cloudy kind of looking places on the areas that were sanded. I did sand the whole door, I believe. And so I'm hoping that they'll go away as I put the next coat of urethane on. It's kind of a long process. The urethane smells a lot, and the door is looking better though. Alright, the third layer is on. Sometimes you get a little drippy, so what you can do then is Get your brush and kind of smooth it out. Means you did it a little, got a little bit too much lacquer there. Now I sanded with 2000 and sanded a little bit of a funky little thing off there, but I'll just touch that up later. It's good enough. Not perfect, but good enough. I'll let this dry and then we're just about done. See drips coming down, just kind of smooth them out. A little bit there, just a nice slight spreading it out a little bit. Good enough. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be good enough. Smoothing it out. I don't think I'm going to do much of any sanding after the final one. Just kind of leave it alone because sanding makes the color funky. Good enough. All right, now it's tape removal time. Time to remove that painter's tape. Sometimes they don't come off cleanly though. All right, it is done. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than before. I got all the paint off, or I mean the tape off. I did about 3 coats of restain, followed by 3 coats of about 3 coats of the urethane. When I was taking it off, and there are error parts, like, you know, part of the thing came off, I just stuck a little bit more stain there, and there's a few little, you know, I didn't sand this down properly, things like that, but overall, much improvement, and hopefully it'll last quite a bit longer than the last time. Alright.